the webinar concludes. So you'll have a copy of the PowerPoint. You'll have the case study from the CHARM Collaborative and other materials that we're sending out to all of the registrants. So with that, let me get started. When we look at what's happening in opioid use in the country, if you think about 3 different ways that you can measure what's going on. One, initiates, so how many new people are beginning to use an opioid. And you see in the data that from about 0.06 that would have been in the Survey in Drug Use of Health as new initiates, people who are beginning to use heroin in 2002 to 2004 when the data were analyzed between that time period, compared to 0.10% now, more recently, 2009 to 2011. So as you can see, overall, it's a small percentage, but it has increased pretty dramatically, especially when you look at the data on those that meet criteria for substance dependence. A 50% increase in those that are 12 or older who are dependent on heroin, and you see the numbers of 2011, about 370,000 people. And then very disturbing, as we know in the media and we hear from areas of the country that are being increasingly impacted by overdose deaths, that those deaths since 1999 have had a 500% increase in women using opioid pain relievers and overdosing. And again, very disturbing fact that overdose deaths surpassed motor vehicle accidents as the leading cause of death in the country. And those of us that grew up before seatbelts were required in cars, you can imagine that this is an alarming statistic when you realize that what we have done to reduce motor vehicle deaths means in part that has contributed to the reduction in those deaths while we have an increase still in the opioid overdoses. So when we look at some of the information that we hear and get questions about of the non-medical use of prescription drugs, and is there an association between those non-medical use of pain relievers and the initiation of heroin use? I think anecdotally and in the media, that's what we're reading, that's what we're hearing, that as the states have had better controls on the prescription drugs